So, welcome everyone. This is Spark Up Your Life presentation masterclass. And how it's geared up is I'm going to be going through this presentation. It's not going to be all of it, don't worry. It's 33 pages, and I'm not going to be able to see all of them, or some of them. And how it's designed is designed that I'm going to be asking you questions. And the more questions you answer, the more value you get out of this presentation. And I love to speak about magic, and that means that once in a while I'm going to switch between practical things and magical things, and that's the beauty of it. And before we start the presentations, let me ask you: how many of you really enjoyed watching any of the Harry Potter movies or the books? Let me know. Great. So, and how many of you enjoy any kind of science fiction, Disney movies, cartoons, anything that involves kind of fantasy or magic or that kind of stuff? Well, I see that most of us do enjoy it. So, however, I've noticed that quite a few people shy away from magic when it comes to the real life. So we enjoy it in a science fiction, in movies, in entertainment, but when it comes to real life, we kind of forget about it. Move away. And I see it a lot, especially for people choosing or not choosing tools like tarot card, astrology, numerology, and all kinds of other tools. And what I invite you is keep open mind and see where it can lead you. And for this presentation to be most beneficial for you, ask yourself, why are you here? So there's a reason why you're here. So why are you here? And obviously, because you're investing your time watching this presentation, you want something. You want something in exchange. You maybe you want to feel better about yourself. Maybe you want some clarity. Whatever that is, it's good to be clear. Because if you're not clear with what you want, how can you going to get it? How are you going to be satisfied or happy about it? Because the more likely than not, if you're not defining specific goals or intentions, it's really hard to measure. And then if any doubts comes in, you're basically stuck. You're stuck. So once you know what your initial intention was, I invite you to ask another question. How does sparked up life look like to you? So we all have some dreams, fantasies, desires, and invite you to have some desires right now. Come up with something you would really like to have. Could be any specific area of life, could be anything and in your life that you want to improve. And that's why I have this nice little chart here, which is number one, which is what do you want? And then afterwards, you have at least one thing you know you want for sure, or you kind of like to have it. Then ask yourself, where are you right now? And that's number two. And usually this kind of comfort zone where you overcame some challenges, nothing's too bad, nothing's too good. It's kind of like, I'm okay. I don't need to change anything. I would be awesome to have one, but it's kind of a hassle to go through some challenges, and therefore we don't have one. And because we already don't have one, the next question I want to ask you is, what's stopping you from getting there? And could be anything. Could be just I never asked what I want. As simple as that. And once you know, uh, once you know what's stopping you, it's easier for you to overcome the challenges because you realize that actually it's worth going for that desire I want. And obviously, why I'm here? Well, first of all, I want to share my knowledge, my insights, my experiences. And of course, if you feel like this would be a great fit for you, I would also invite you after this presentation, if you feel like there's more that I can offer you, invite you for a group program I'm organizing, which is 12-week group program going through similar topics we discuss on this presentation, these masterclasses, and we go deeper in. And on top of that, we also have group support, regular check-in, so we actually manifest and realize our desires. More details you want, there's a link here. Let's go on to the presentation, part one. So obviously everyone talking about secret. Maybe you've even seen the movie The Secret. And what's the secret? You maybe also have read a book, Think and Grow Rich. And the secret is thoughts become things. That's quite magical thing and quite magical realization to consider. So what does it mean, thoughts become things? Well, before we dive into that, let's go to some famous quotes and explain. First of all, the really important thing is everyone kind of thinks I want to be successful, but not everyone actually defines what the success means for them. And I would love to offer you this amazing definition, which says success is progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And that means if you have a goal and you're moving towards that goal consistently, you're successful. You're immediately successful. And that gives you that gratification and more desire to move forward. And when I say worthy ideal, that could be anything. That could be desire. I want ice cream today. As simple as that. That's a worthy ideal. And now you go to progressive realization to have that ice cream. It could be bigger. Maybe I want to earn 10,000 euros in next 3 days. Like whatever the worthy ideal is, as long as you're moving forward, you're successful. Second thing I want to mention is success means doing the best we can with what we have. And honestly, most of us actually always do the best we can. And the thing is that only thing that we don't do the best we can is we guilt ourselves and try to punish ourselves, doubt ourselves. And after the fact, we say, oh, we didn't do that, we could have done that. But we always do the best we can. As long as we know something we should be doing, and if we're doing that, we're doing our best we can. So the biggest obstacle for most of us for not getting what we want is not acknowledging what we already have and not acknowledging we're already successful. And the third one is logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you anywhere. And this is really, really powerful thing because every single one of us imagine something all the time. That's why it's really important to understand the secret. Thoughts become things. So even now, if I ask you the question, can you earn million euros, dollars, whatever, any thought that comes after this question is some kind of imagination, some kind of story. Is it either yes, no, maybe, potentially? Whatever the answer is, that's imagination. And whatever that story is that the story you like to have? And that there the power comes from imagination, because honestly, we can imagine whatever we want. However, we hold ourselves back in imagining things we actually don't want. And the final one is from Dalai Lama. The purpose of our lives is to be happy. This is really important to understand because I remember myself, I was struggling to finding my passion, purpose, and all these things, and I couldn't find anything. And why was that? For a very simple reason, because I was comparing myself with others. Like there were so many other people who said, oh, I have this kind of clarity, I want to have this big vision, and yeah, I want to rule the world, I have this big company I'm building, and I'm making people to believe themselves, have a magical life, whatever the big vision, big purpose they have. And it feels so big compared to whatever idea I had any single day. And therefore I said, oh, this what I have is not good enough. Therefore, it's not good enough. So I haven't found it. However, once at some point, I realized that for me, my purpose is as simple as feeling good. And then once I was actually physically able to accept that my purpose is just to feel good, I was like, wow, what am I actually wasting time? Instead of trying to guilt myself and I don't have a purpose big enough or comparable to anything else, I actually can start taking action as soon as I realize that my purpose is to feel good. And as long as I know I'm feeling good, I'm on purpose and I can do bigger things. So that's why I'm putting this quote, purpose of life is to be happy. As simple as that. You don't need more than that. If you want to have more than that, awesome. If you feel happy about it. If you feel like being stuck or finding something else, just keep with this one. And continuing with the secret, there are common themes. Like if you have read self-development books, some of them magical, some of them not, self-help books in general, there are common themes that everyone goes through. And first of all, you can be successful. Everyone can be successful. Anyone, each and every one of us can achieve almost anything in the world, in life. And the second thing that everyone says, yes, you can achieve anything, but there are different paths to take to get you there. And that's sometimes most confusing part of it, because Sometimes you have a choice to make, and you know which one is the right choice. And most of the times, it doesn't really matter which is the right choice, as long as you keep moving, keep doing, and actually keep intention of achieving what you want to achieve. Because even if you take the wrong path, as soon as you realize it was the wrong path, you just move back instead of staying stuck. Because whenever you're stuck, you're stuck. You're not moving forward. It's like you miss 100% of shots you don't take. And the beauty is that you have to choose which path you want to take. No one else can take a choice for you. Yes, you can follow advice from other people, but end of the day, it's your choice. And why I'm saying it's your choice, because each and every one of us have unique, very unique set of preferences. Like some people like chocolate, some people hate chocolate. Some people like vanilla, some people don't really like vanilla. And there are many people who don't like bananas. And I love bananas. So it's a preference. And if I'm saying you have to eat bananas to stay healthy, maybe that's not the path you want to take. If you don't like bananas, you're going to be miserable. And maybe you want a path that you're not miserable. When you want to be path that's really exciting and joyful and really pleasurable. And one thing you will need to have is some kind of purpose, some kind of drive. Could be as simple as the I want to feel good, as simple as that, and something that motivates to keep forward, because you will have to overcome challenges on this path. And these challenges can be internal, external, and you have a choice. And here's the next slide, which shows different ways of dealing with life, because we always have a choice and we can choose what kind of life we want to have. Now, when it comes to me, I like to choose hacking my way through the life, finding the shortcuts, finding the most positive, easiest way to get what I want, while I like also overcoming challenges. So I will give you some awesome dilemma challenge, because I love hiking. So when I go hiking, I always have a choice. Do I want to take shortcut and have less steps, or I want to go around long way route, have more steps and get stronger? I actually love both. I love getting stronger, and I love excitement of having a shortcut and kind of, oh, I found something really like easy. And another example is when I was in Japan, quite often I was going on hikes, and quite often there was this split in a road, fork in a road, and one would go around the mountain, easy way to get through. There's no challenge. It's just a really nice, easy walk, probably a lot faster. And there's the other road which splits up, goes up to the peak of the mountain, which may have nice view or may not have anything. And that means challenge, because you need to go uphill, which is usually physically draining, takes more time. However, there's this opportunity risk of having a view up there, and always have this choice. And most of the times I would choose going up to the mountain, unless I felt like I value my time more at this point. And at that point, I would say, I'm going to go up to the hill. So you choose which kind of path you want to take. And now we're going to the juicy part, which is self-love. So why I'm saying self-love? Because pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. So that means that we can actually choose what kind of experience we want to have. So we can choose a happy life or miserable life. And that's exactly what self-love means. If you check the dictionary definition, self-love is regard for one's own well-being and happiness. As simple as that. Sometimes people complicate what does self-love means, but as simple as regarding one's own well-being, physical, mental, emotional, and happiness. So feeling good. And quite often also I've heard many people have resistance to expressing love, self-love to others, because they think that will be selfish. I don't want to be selfish. But truth is, it can be selfish if you're actually not loving yourself. The true expression of self-love cannot be selfish, because we all connected. Even the Big Bang says so, because everything comes from this one infinitely small something and expanded. So everyone can, if we trace all our atoms, everything back to our origin, we all are at this one single spot and all is the same. So everything in existence is coming from the same source, and religion says the same thing. So we actually are connected in some form. And science also say it in a different level, because there's this thing called mirror neurons, which basically help us to connect between each other empathetically. So we actually know the feelings other people feel, almost like a mini stories they have, almost like a mind reading. So we have this ability to know what other person feels. So even if we're ignoring it, we still have this ability to have it. And what differs between different people is that how we react to these signals. And some people react, push people away. I don't like this feeling, go away, or deal with your own stuff. But every single one of us care about other people. And because we care, because we love to serve, we love to see other people succeed as well, we are not physically able to feel good about ourselves if we know we're doing something bad for other people. So that means that in order for me to actually be happy about myself, I need to know that I'm doing the best I can also for other people around me. And that takes care of self-love being as complete circle and really, really sustainable, I would say. And objection handling, the idea that self-love could be selfish, which is not true. So next one, self-love, what does it mean to you? So I told you in the beginning, I will ask you some questions. So we started going through what self-love means to me, but what does it mean to you? And I would invite you to check specifically in context of your desire, so your spark of life. So if you said, I want to have really amazing, beautiful, loving relations, I want to have my dream partner, okay, awesome. So how does self-love, what does self-love mean to you in context of finding that partner? If you had some kind of other goal, let's say, I want to find a new job. Okay, what does self-love mean to you in context of finding a new job? What will help you? What kind of self-love expression will help you? Or how expressing self-love to yourself will help you to find a new job or the job you want? So that's the questions you want to ask yourself. I will continue going through this presentation, revealing that self-love actually is process of building relationship and trust to yourself, specifically in the mind. Because I said in the beginning, thoughts become things. And that means showing up, taking care of your well-being in all levels, physical, mental, and emotional. And when I said that you need to build a relationship with yourself, that means that you are actually doing the things you say you will do. That means if I say, I'm gonna eat vegan from now, if I'm not eating vegan, I'm telling myself, I actually don't care about what I'm saying. That means there are exceptions. My word doesn't mean anything. So I could basically tell everyone, there's no certainty. So basically, it's really hard for you to keep commitments to yourself. And it's really hard for you to value yourself. It's really hard for you to love yourself because there's no certainty there. So, and at the same time, it also means saying no to things that are not good for you. Because, for example, there's desire for me right now, for example, to eat mango sorbet. I know there's a mango sorbet in the freezer I have, and I would love to have it. Maybe potentially a sweetness. Maybe I'm a bit tired, so I know the sugar will give me a sugar rush. But I also know there's lots of sugar, and I already ate and will spike my sugar levels, and it will interfere with the food combining with whatever I had before. So that's not the best thing for me to do in the long term. So it will impact my health in the long term. Therefore, I have to say no at this right now, at this moment, maybe later when I combine it with different meals, whatever, when I'm actually needing it or having a small amount. So I have to know exactly when to say no and yes. And then therefore I have these really amazing Will Smith quotes. I believe that self-discipline is definition of self-love. And before you say yes or no to this quote, ask yourself, what does self-discipline mean to you? And again, when I say self-discipline, you already start imagining all kinds of things. That's why I say imagination and thoughts are really powerful too, because if we are not aware what's happening within our minds, what we're imagining, we are still in control. And I love being in control, especially when it comes to mind control and making things magical. So self-discipline basically is, as I said, doing the things that you said you will do. And it could come from a place, oh, I'm doing the things that I said I will do because I want to, because it's joyful. So you can tell yourself any story. The self-discipline is actually joyful, easy, flowy, and effortless journey. So if I say I'm going to exercise every morning, I will do it because I really, really love my body to be fit. I will really enjoy it, and I will do it the way how I enjoy it. I will find a way to actually enjoy it. Self-discipline can also at the same time will be, I'm going to push myself. I'm going to make sure I'm strong. I'm going to suffer. I'm going to make myself suffer to get what I want. Attitude. You can choose whichever attitude you want. And self-discipline basically is doing the things you said you will do. As simple as that. And now I want to ask you, what's your recipe to love yourself more? So how will you make sure to actually love yourself more? And here is my model. Love to teach my students is in the center, it's feeling good. So every time before I make a decision, is this going to be good for me? Is this going to be expression of self-love? Is it a good choice for me to make? I'm going to ask myself, will this make me feel good short term and long term? And then I weigh the possibilities. If it's giving me pain in long term, it's not a good decision. It's not expression of self-love. If I know this decision will make me feel good, both in short term and in long term, awesome, that's a good decision to make. And how do you make these decisions? How do you come to this place and state that you're actually able to know almost everything you do in the life is going to be good or bad for you? And this is where the stress management comes into the place. Why stress management? Because stress is this one single thing that uniquely affects our awareness and state of mind. And whenever we get stressed, where there's any kind of danger or something, perceived danger, most of the cases, like 99.99% of the time, there's perceived danger, and it puts into this stressed state, fight or flight mode, and our brain starts functioning in different ways. It gets hyper focused on something, so it loses creativity. Our body reacts different ways, so we're not actually in the same level of awareness as we were moments ago before we got stressed. So therefore, it's really, really important for us to regulate how much stressed or relaxed we are. And there are many very simple tools and techniques how to regulate the stress. And I'm gonna also discuss some of them in this presentation, in these master classes. And stress management is just magical. It's just magical how you can switch your state, get to this state of awareness in a simple moments, just by thinking, oh, I'm stressed, I'm not feeling good. I want to go towards my self-love. That's my goal. I want to feel good. I want to go there. What do I do? You ask yourself this question and you find a way how to feel good. And one of the scientific ways how to feel good is flow state. You probably have studied the flow state. You maybe have heard about it, maybe not. It's a peak performance flow state for peak performance for athletes, high achievers, flow state, peak state, all these kind of things, the same thing. Basically, it's this being in the zone. That's also the same with creators, writers, programmers. Everyone talks about the same thing, but it's the same story. And that's also a nice thing to study, because that's the most efficient, most fluid way how to maintain your state of feeling good. So you want to use ground level technique from stress management. You want to study flow state, and when you go towards the direction of self-love, feeling good consistently. And here is a model I want to share with you, which is really simple. It might seem a bit complicated in the beginning, but it's very simple and very, very powerful. And as I told you before, self-love is linked with awareness. Because self-love is not only what's happening inside, because we have physical body, physical actions, hands, arms happening around. We have our mental mind, thoughts going around, and we have our emotions, heart, how we feel. And because we have these three realms, I would say three bodies, and we act in three different ways in each of these bodies. So self-love is act. It's not really a theory or something. It's actually act. And how do we choose actions? We choose the actions from our mind, from our awareness. Our mind kind of is a tool to make these actions. And we can make good choices if we have high awareness, or we make really bad choices and decisions if we have low awareness. That's where stress management and flow state comes in. We make really good decisions from state of flow if we know where we're going. If we don't know where we're going, we can be in a slow state for ages and ages. All we achieve is really feeling good. And that's it. If you know actually where you're going, the flow state guides us where we want to go. That's why it's really important to take care of all of these three things, because at the end of the day, everything is connected. You cannot separate decision of taking care of physical body and not taking care of mental health or emotional health, because everyone knows that emotions influence our decisions. We already talked that physical body, if it's stressed physically, there's physical chemicals going through the body. It also influences our decisions. If you're cranky, tired, you're unlikely to go out on a party, which knows that we're going to be really tired the next day. So physical body also influences how we're going to make decisions. And our mind, if you're really thinking negative, we're stuck, we're trying to solve problem, it's unlikely that we're going to want to make decisions that make us feel good. It is really, really mind-boggling thing. When you're feeling low, there's this negative spiral, negative momentum, trying to keep you feeling good. So even if someone suggests something to do that could make you feel good, unless you have this desire, drive to feel good, the mind is likely to suggest you, no, don't do that. It's going to be too hard, or don't do that. Keep suffering, keep in suffering. And let's go through this model step by step. So first, let's start with physical. Our physical body needs to move. Our body is made to move. So we need to make sure that we move enough during the day. And not only hands while I'm talking, also the legs and arms and everything else. And it's not just movement. The stretching is really, really important part of the movements. So even if you're going to the gym and everything else, if you're walking, everything, whatever exercise you do, stretching is really crucial and important part, because we don't only want to have strong body, we also want to be flexible. So make sure when you take care of a physical body, it moves, and it moves in different ways: dancing, walking, stretching, exercise, whatever shape and recipe of movement you like. And that's why I love yoga. That's why I'm really passionate about yoga, because it takes care of both strength and flexibility. And I like combined with dancing, which involves creativity, more free flow, expression. And then, of course, once in a while, I love to do Tai Chi, which is more of a energy work with other people. So these are the practices I practice, and I invite you to find what works for you. Second thing, when we're taking care of our physical body, is nurturing it. And mostly, for most of us, it means diet. So what are we eating? What are we consuming? And it's not only digestion consuming, what goes through into the mouth, or skin, it's also consuming. So how are we nurturing? Are we going out in the sunlight? Are we putting on some, if you don't go into the sunlight, are we putting on creams on that help us to absorb things to our skin? So, and also the hair, washing, going to the showers, that's nurture. Maybe it's a massage. So there are many ways how you can nurture our physical body. Maybe it's a hug for you because you really want to feel that closeness with other people. So nurturing ourselves, finding ways how to nurture yourself, and in the context to make yourself feel better sustainably and feel that love. So find a ways how to nurture yourself regularly. Just because it's like breathing and eating. Yes, just because I didn't inhale a second ago doesn't mean I don't need to take inhale for next 3, 4, 5 minutes. So there's always these gaps and cycles, and for each thing, cycle could be different. For example, for breathing, the cycle for most of us is quite short. For eating, the cycle is much larger. For drinking, maybe slightly shorter than eating. However, for some things like massage, sunlight, this cycle could be variable. So you have to find out what works for you, what is enough for you. And those cycles will also be dependent on your emotional and mental bodies. So this where it kind of gets a bit tricky and interlaced. And the third and final one is rest. So what does rest mean to you? So first of all, rest means sleep. It also means stopping, having silence, and also giving a break to your mind, emotions, just any kind of physical break. Because if you study flow state, if you study athletes, yes, they do move, do high intensity trainings, but they also have breaks, recovery, rest. So we all need it. So make sure you sleep enough, but also not too much. So because when we're talking about the rest, it's not more is better. No, everything too much will be as a poison. So if you sleep too much, it's actually bad for the body because you're not moving enough. So that's where it comes into the balance, way of the balance. So yes, you need to move, but you also need to rest. Yes, you need to eat and nurture, but you also need to stop eating. So everything needs to be in balance. The second one is emotions. And the same patterns keep up also in emotional well-being. And emotions crave to be expressed. That's why you have these TV series, all the entertainment, emotions need to be expressed. It's a movement for emotions. So where our physical body needs to move, our emotions also need to be in movement, and that's expression. There are many different ways how you can healthy express your emotions. There are also not so healthy choices, and most of the unhealthy choices are either in a wrong context or just plainly not the best time and place to do it. So you could just express it in a talk. You could be with other people or it could be alone. And you could also express it through shouting, through talking, through singing, through any kind, to dancing, even through the movements. So that's where it comes connected. Yes, there's emotion, but you want to express it, and it can be expressed through the movement, like dancing, self-expression. It also could be expressed through journaling, meditation, observing, putting attention to it. The second one, which is really also linked to it, is care. We need to care about our emotions. What often happens when a negative emotion comes, what happens? Let me know what happens when negative emotion comes to you. Most of the time, we don't like this emotion, so we shy away from it. And if it keeps on coming back, we don't like it, we are more likely than not to suppress it because that's the accepted behavior we learn from society, from our parents, from friends. Most people do that, and that's not a very healthy thing to do. So we really need to care of for emotions. And what's the best way to care for them? So far in my life, the most magical way how to care for emotions is whenever any feeling, emotion comes to you, is asking yourself, using mental faculties and asking yourself, what the positive gift, what the positive intention behind this emotion. So why? Because you straight away assume this emotion comes to be with a gift, with a purpose, with something magical, something beautiful. So there's some beautiful intent behind me feeling sad, frustrated, whatever. For example, grief. Usually, when someone dies, leaves you, dumps you, there's usually the period of grief. And what does it mean? Well, as simple as care. It express actually care for the people. But do you really need to feel sad? No, you don't need to feel sad. You can actually be happy, joyful, as soon as you actually are able to express the grief, to care, acknowledge the value in this person. And once you do that, once you find a healthier ways to express, grief is over. So that's what it means to care. And then again, sometimes we also need to, not sometimes, actually all the time. Well, actually, yeah, sometimes we need to release emotions because emotion comes, we express it, we take care of it, but sometimes it's enough. So when negative emotion comes and we don't, it's not ours. Like let's say you have a negative conversation with someone and someone tries to dump on their negative stuff on you, and you need to be able to release, like going to the shower basically. Someone tries to say negative stuff to you, and you need to be able to release negative attachment so it doesn't attach to you. So basically, you need to make sure you're able to do emotional shower release and wash away negative stuff that's not yours in the first place. So release. So express, care, and release. And now we're coming to the one of my favorite parts, which I feel quite strong because emotions sometimes for emotional world for me is quite new. However, mental, I'm really been interested in mind control since childhood, and at that point it was more of a mind controlling others, like this conspiracy stuff. And little did I know that mind control is all about controlling my own mind. It's all about inner work. An external world always just a reflection of what happens inside, which is quite magical. I could dive deep into those topics if you feel like. Feel free to reach out to DM me. We can have a chat, see how can I help you to have these magical insights, how to manifest things to the mental work inside. And all this mental work will be founded on three core principles: growing, creating, and clearing. Same as we talked about emotions, where you need to take emotional shower, you also need to take mental shower and clear your mind. And the best and most juicy example, how I can release all these three: rest, release, and clear, uh, into the one single example when it becomes really important to have this skill is when you want to go to sleep. Let's imagine you have a really exciting, a magical day today, and you're so excited. However, you know that tomorrow you need to get up 6 o'clock in the morning. You have, let's say, 7 hours left to sleep. And if you not fall asleep right now, you're not going to be rested enough to have magical day tomorrow as well, because you want also the same magical day tomorrow. You know, you need a certain amount of sleep. So that means you need rest. In order for you to rest, you need to clear your mind, release all the emotions that you have about this magical day so your body can actually rest. What happens when we're not able to clear our mind? We're thinking about, oh, this was such an amazing day. And these thoughts create emotions. Remember this one: thoughts create emotions. These thoughts create emotions which manifest as hormones, neurotransmitters into the body. Our body gets flushed with dopamine, serotonin, all these good stuff gets flushed. We get kind of positively stressed and we're not able to sleep. What can we do about it? Well, depending on where you are on the journey, which part of this triangle, physical, emotional, mental, is strongest for you, you might go for a run. So as you go for a run, you flush out the neurotransmitters, you clear your system, you kind of get distracted by the physical load, and you literally go into the meditation. And this is not a really deep topic. Meditation, sometimes people don't understand what does meditation mean. And it can be as simple as going for a run. Could be going for a gym exercise, going for a swim, whatever thing. Could be also meditation. So like, for example, I'm a really active person and I would rather, if I have excess energy, I would rather put it to the good use, you know. I would love to do some physical exercise to get stronger, unless I'm really like, you know, I'm mentally high, but physically drained, and I would kind of have a different strategy. But if I know I haven't had that much physical, I would go for the physical drain. And then as I'm physically drained, my body kind of pulls down the mind with it. And it's easier for me to clear the mind. And then it's as the mind gets cleared, emotions also come with, and then I can fall asleep. So basically, if you ever have sleep problems, you need to work on all of these three aspects and just let it go. Let go all the thoughts, worries, let go all the stories, release them, and just let your body relax. Let go any tension. It's very simple. Then we have two more modalities for the mental world to discuss, and that's create. Second one is create. Our mind really loves creating things, and our mind would really enjoy creating all kinds of beautiful, magical stuff. But most of the time, it does not. Why? Because we don't ask it to. It's simple that our mind is kind of computer. It doesn't really care what we put in there. It's like a computer we can program, and you could put in there, create me a magical world. Can you please create me a magical world, please? Thank you. And yes, your mind can do that. And most of the time, what happens if we don't practice mindfulness, if we don't practice self-love, we don't put in desires for our mind to create. And what it does, it creates problems. We all know that unless we really put something worthy, our mind will create problems so that mind can solve these problems. Because our mind also loves to grow. And because our mind has this need to grow through itself, have this constant motion, some kind of solutions, provide solution. Our mind really loves this gratifications from problem solved. That's the growth aspect of it. And it thrives into the growing. That's why we have all these games, football, basketball, ice hockey, all these things that happen around us because we want to compete. We need to grow. We love seeing other people succeed as well. So unless we create the problems, let's say problems, I say, my problems, how can you get me magical life? That's my problem. Then you focus your mind to creating your magical life. Unless you do that, your mind will say, how do I stay alive? How do I not be too healthy but still survive? So how can I eat as much chocolate as I can without getting too many pimples on my face and all these kind of things? Or how do I keep my partner still engaged with me? And simplest way how to keep engaged with a person is have some kind of emotional attachment. And the simplest way to have emotional attachment is to have a fight. Sadly, you can keep in a relationship for a while if you have some kind of fight, emotional attachment. This could be anger, guilt, jealousy, any kind of emotional attachment between two people creates a relationship. So that's and unless you specifically mention what kind of things you want to create, that's what your mind will go towards. So on a final note on this slide, I really want to put it out that it's really important to invest your time into bringing awareness and taking action in all of these three areas: physical, emotional, and mental. And it's only you can decide which one to start and which one to put more attention. But at the end of the day, they're all connected. And because they're all connected, it doesn't really matter that much. But at the end of the day, you still need to make sure that you do the work in all of them. Most of the time, it could be automatic, yes, but sometimes it really calls to take action in some of them. So therefore, I encourage you to practice intention of feeling good, practice stress management, try to get into the flow state as much as you can, and do the things that make you feel good through act of self-love. Thank you so much. Hope you really enjoyed this session. Let me know if you have any questions. I would love to answer you then. Let me know and hope to see you on the next one. And before I finish this session, let me also know if you feel like you would really benefit from joining my group program sessions. So let me see if I can still manage to bring this up. So if you feel like these kind of topics you'd like to explore together in group support and dive into deeper, specifically how to achieve your dream, what kind of action steps you need to take, receive the personal support, feedback, make sure to actually manifesting things you need to manifesting, feel free to join on. It's going to be a group program for 3 months for small group, less than 12 people, and we're going to have one session a week, most likely on weekend. It's to be determined. The majority of people is going to be recorded, and you will always have also email support, access to me, and you also will have this daily check-in for practicing gratitude, which is gratitude is one of the most amazing things to manifest magic into your life. And it's sometimes hard to remember and motivate yourself to do it. Or if you know you have a group calling you accountable, that's so magical to have it. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. Otherwise, I'm going to finish this session with you and wish you a magical day in front of you.